Project Management Insights, providing project managers with professional development in the interpersonal skills areas of leadership, team building, and communication. Hello, welcome to today's episode of Project Management Insights. Where I want to go today is to talk about what happens when you lose key resources on your project. I think we've all had it happen where we thought things were fine and then all of a sudden somebody leaves suddenly and we weren't aware that was going to happen. Somebody gets sick or is, injured, for an example, and they're off for an extended period of time. Somebody goes out on stress leave. I've had that happen on a number of my projects. Very key resources have become too stressed and overworked on the project because there aren't enough resources in the first place, and yet they've played a very key role on my project and they've disappeared. So what happens when you lose those key resources? What's the best thing for you to do? First and foremost, what I would suggest you do is go and inform your project control board. The reason I say that is that they are the people that are there to help and support the successful delivery of your project. They are the people that have access to, generally, funding, additional resources, capabilities, things that you don't have ready access to. And so what I would recommend doing is going and having one-on-ones, if possible, with your project control board members, and you will usually know which ones of these are going to be most relevant to you in your project, because if you have a project control board that's set up properly, you will have decision makers from key areas in the business that are going to be there to support and help you in your project delivery. Another topic when you don't have that on your project control board, I think I've spoken about this before. So hopefully you will have the right people on your project control board, and you will be able to go to those key resources, whichever one you choose to first, and explain to them what's happened. Now the thing is that what you must realize is that straight up your project schedule is going to be at risk. Do you have a risk on your risk log around key resources leaving the project or not being available for the project? It's always a standard risk that I have on my risk register, and then we do have, and we have talked about, a risk mitigation strategy, because it's necessary to flag it as a risk. It is a risk. It does create a risk to the successful delivery of your project if one or more of your key resources are no longer available to deliver. So have the risk, raise the risk rating on your risk, that's better, raise the rating on your risk, and then flag that to your project control board. You also need to go and have a conversation with the project sponsor / business owner. They need to be aware that this is going to create a problem. Oftentimes they may not be in the space of being able to support and help with additional resourcing to fill the gap of this, what was a key resource. And they need to know that you are on top of this by speaking to the other project control board members and the people that do have that ability or capability to support you in gaining additional resources. Now, sometimes when you have a key resource leave, all of a sudden you're left with a knowledge gap. And that can happen when you are working with specific systems or specific technology or processes, people with a certain level of understanding that's not easily available in the marketplace. This can create a huge problem for you because it won't be easy to replace that resource. So what are you going to do? What sort of things can you do A, to ensure that the resource stays around and is still available, or B, to work around, if that's the right way to describe it, the resource's knowledge and capabilities. Are there other people that have lower level skills or less skills that could be valuable to help you? And the thing is, it would take longer for them to get up to speed or to be able to complete the tasks. You need to think about all of these things. So at the start of your project, the best thing you can do as part of your assessing your risks for your project is to nominate or call out who are the key resources on your project. And then in your mitigation strategies, understand what you would do if that person is no longer there. And we are talking about a specific person, a named person, because these people are the ones that have the key skills and knowledge that are going to support delivery of your project. And so it's no good saying, well, there's a risk that we will lose the blah, blah, blah team. Well, okay, if it's the whole team, then yes, that's critical. But generally it will be one resource. More often than not, it will be one resource, a key resource. Name that person. Karen Jarrett is the key resource. If we lose her, this is the risk to the project. This is what would happen if she was no longer there. And here's how we will mitigate against that. So being prepared and setting up mitigation strategies right from the start is the best thing that you can do. Otherwise, you will find that if it happens that your resource walks or is unavailable, then you are left in a what are we going to do space without any backup plan, and that's not valuable. Now, back to your schedule. Your schedule is going to be impacted unless you can get a new resource immediately. It is therefore very important that you begin to understand what the impact on your schedule will be of this key resource no longer being there. And then you take that in terms of the updated schedule, updated delivery timeframes, all of the impacts that it's going to have on your schedule, and you raise that in your next project control board. Don't hide it. Don't not say anything about it. You need to be aware and you need to flag ASAP, as soon as possible. As soon as you become aware that that resource is no longer available to you for your project control board and your business owner or project sponsor needs to know about it. Even if it means calling an extraordinary PCB meeting in order to talk about just this specific thing. And I have done that when we had a key resource leave our project. It was very necessary to raise it immediately and have it discussed in order to understand what could be done to get and keep the project on track. If you have a project that has a very critical timeline, and it means that there are a lot of problems for the business if it is not delivered specifically within the desired time frame, then it is very, very, very important that you raise this risk as soon as possible. Do not leave it, because somehow this needs to be fixed so that your business is not put in an uncomfortable state. And that could mean, from a legislative perspective, with other key agencies that have oversight and lack the ability to fine or create problems for the organisation as a whole. So be aware of all of these things and raise the problem as soon as it occurs. That way then you're going to have the best possible chance of resolving this issue of key resource gap for your project. Hopefully this has given you some ideas and will help you to ensure that this is not a risk that materializes on your project at any time. Or if it does, then you really, really are prepared and aware of what you need to do in order to mitigate it and bring it back to a space where it's not a problem on the project anymore. All right, till next time, happy project managing. Thank you for listening to this Project Management Insights podcast. Be sure to visit projectmanagementinsight.com and sign up for our monthly newsletter or to receive updates on upcoming training.